Welcome to episode 97 of Nobody Special.
On this episode, we talk about finding joy in sorrow and Izze the dog.
The Gospel Outpost presents Nobody Special. Hey everybody, welcome to Nobody Special, two nobodies talking about the somebody who matters. I'm Danny, the host and dog whisperer of Nobody Special.
And I'm Caleb, you're the host of Nobody Special. This is a podcast where two generations of people talk about God, pop culture, politics, and everything in between, all while not taking any of it too seriously. We're back.
Caleb, hello.
Hello.
I like how you say we're back, but it's just a regular schedule.
I know.
It's
yeah.
kind of fun.
We're
Caleb,
back.
did you catch the Golden Globes?
I caught some of them, yes.
The Golden Globes were amazing, but only because Ricky Gervais, I think, got pre-drunk for the performance. Like, I don't know. That man
Sounds
just,
right.
like, didn't care at all.
Yeah.
And said some things that needed to be said, I felt. And called out some people that needed to be called out.
Dang.
Yeah. No,
I haven't watched. I saw it was like a montage on YouTube, and I was like, I want to watch that, but I was at work, so.
Oh yeah. So he.
Why was I on YouTube at work? I don't know, but I wasn't.
He was watching it later. Definitely not at work.
Yes.
Got it.
On my lunch break.
Got it. Okay. No, so he started calling out jokes for Epstein and Harvey Weinstein and all these things, and just saying it's like, I didn't do it, you did it, or like, be quiet, I know he's your friend and you had to find your own jet here. Like, really horrible things, and people got upset naturally because he tends to be an upsetting character.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about that in just the role of the comedian and the court jester.
Right.
I mean, the idea of the comedian goes back to the court jester, who had been the only person able to just openly mock the king.
Yeah.
And if a thing becomes, or it was kind of a gauge to the culture that if the king, killed the court jester, it meant everyone else is really in trouble because he's supposed to be safe. He's supposed to be able to, like, talk about the things that need to be talked about from a comedic perspective and kind of hide behind that a little bit,
right?
But criticize things.
Yeah.
And I feel as if that's the modern day comedian at this point, because they need to be able to talk about things that aren't getting talked about. And Gervais just kind of nailed it. I'm sorry, Ricky Gervais just nailed it.
Yeah.
It was crazy, inappropriate. But he did bring up the fact that too many actors don't actually know anything, and they shouldn't use this time to make political statements. So just take their award, thank their agent, thank their God, and get off the stage. And he said it much more sweary. But yeah.
Man, I gotta go watch this.
And then to counterbalance that, Tom Hanks got an award for basically being Mr. Rogers incarnate. Like, I don't know how else to put it. He's like, Tom Hanks got an award for being very nice and not sexually harassing people over the past decades. Which is fair, yeah. So
if anything ever comes out on Tom Hanks, my whole life is a lie.
Right?
What an awesome guy.
Man, I need him to he's doing good.
Just keep on going.
The weirdest thing he's ever done. What do you think it is? Weirdest thing Tom Hanks has ever done.
Weirdest thing Tom Hanks has ever done has been, I don't know.
I maintain it's the Carly Rae Jepsen music video, where I spent the entire time thinking, is that Tom Hanks? Like, he's dancing and singing to Carly Rae Jepsen.
Right.
Doing the, I really, 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 really like you. And it's just like...
That's great.
It's Carly Rae Jepsen's voice, but it's Tom Hanks dancing and singing in the middle of the street with an ensemble behind him, and it's just like, I did not know I needed this. I needed this, and I did not know I needed this. So I wonder how that came about.
Yeah.
Did Carly Rae Jepsen just be like, oh no, that's Tom Hanks? And it's like, yeah, sure, why not? I got a day.
All right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
No,
I was
but yeah.
reading this whole like Twitter thing of like tweets where people met Tom Hanks.
Mm-hmm.
It was the greatest thing ever. There was this guy and he's like, there was a big snowstorm and my car broke down, so I pulled off the side of the road. It was completely, I couldn't see anything. Next thing I know, this car pulls up behind me. The guy gets out and he helps me with my car. We get it fixed, and after it's all over, we introduce ourselves, and it was Tom Hanks.
Right.
It was like, wow.
And I'm never
Also,
sure if those stories are real or not.
I know, right? I don't care. I just want to believe it.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I thought. I was like, that's fake.
Yeah,
Right? How would
yeah.
you not recognize that that's Tom
this
Hanks?
didn't happen, but I'm also going to perpetuate the story. I mean, it's the same thing about the Keanu Reeves stories.
Yeah.
Where, like, now those do take
It's turning into, like, Chuck Norris.
Right.
Except nice guy with Tom Hanks.
Chuck Norris is a nice guy.
Well, yeah, he's a nice guy.
Crime is scared of Chuck Norris.
Yeah?
Yes. Crime checks for Chuck Norris under its bed every night. Chuck Norris is crazy short.
Is he?
Yes, he's like 5'4" or something.
Oh, I thought you were going somewhere with that.
No.
I thought it was going to be a Chuck
no.
Norris joke.
No, I don't get to talk about that often and needed to.
Yeah.
I think he is. Hold on. How tall is Chuck Norris?
Chuck Norris is 5 feet 10 inches tall.
Hey, that's how tall. Well, I'm a bit
Chuck
taller
Norris
than
is
that,
5'10", a normal, reasonable height for any human being. Who am I
Yeah.
thinking of?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Anyway.
Yeah. Man,
So, Caleb, how's your week been?
my week has been good. It has been recovering from the break of like New Year's and the holidays. It always feels weird coming like whether it's school or work. I mean, this is my first time coming back into work, but it's been good.
In finding a rhythm again. That was
Right.
I got to a point that because they closed the office a couple of days, and I was like, I need to go in because I need a rhythm of being in a job. I mean, I'm still new to this job a little bit. I'm 6 months in, but I need that
I don't
rhythm.
know. That sounds like a workaholic to me.
No, well,
Danny is a workaholic. Let me just talk about this really quick
Am
because
I?
it's definitely yes. You are working constantly. I don't know if you noticed that, but you are. Whether it's on Gospel Outpost or like regular work, you are actually working constantly. That's not a good thing. Don't smile. I see your little smirk.
Yeah, I'm driven.
No, that's a bad thing.
No, because like in the back of my head, I'm always scared I'm being lazy.
No, you're not being lazy.
No, like, dude, it is not on the notes. We're not scheduled to talk about this today.
Yeah.
I am low-key scared I'm always not working enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but
With that
that's
said, I'll be at
not
church for
true.
12 hours tomorrow. Or something.
Yeah. Literally, it's annoying. Both of my parents are the same way, and I literally have to I had to force my mom to be like,
So-
stop working, just watch a TV show,
Maybe-
and don't send out emails.
Maybe, Caleb,
Yes.
when everyone around you is working, it's a sign
You should be working
that
too.
you could be more industrious.
No.
Out there getting it. Get that side hustle, you
Like,
know?
I
I'm sorry
bought-
if you're on the video and
I
saw
bought a
what I just did
laptop
there.
just so I could edit videos and do work at home,
Mm-hmm.
and I still don't work as much as you do.
I actually, I switched to the desktop computer when my laptop died because I was working too much, just like all the time. So I scaled back, and then someone
It
figured
didn't
out.
work.
No, it did. No, this is scaled back.
And then someone figured out this.
They could put a,
That they could put a keyboard on an iPad, and now he just works all the time.
but it
again.
doesn't work as good. I
Sorry,
need the laptop
I just
again.
very much dislike when people work all the time. Why
But
don't you
I'm
just sit
enjoying
down?
it. It's stuff I enjoy.
That's why I don't know if you've noticed. I like going out when we hang out because you're not working. Dang, got him.
I know. It's already a hard episode, and we're just laying into me.
Sorry,
a little bit.
let's continue on
Caleb's
with what we're
making
actually
fun of me
talking
for
about.
working too hard and giving him a podcast. Nope, this might get cut.
Giving me a
Okay.
podcast.
Giving you a podcast and giving
You
you
want
a
to fight,
home,
Danny?
giving you a home that you can live on. No, I mean I know, but I enjoy it, and I'm. Oh my gosh, I did just create like 4 more projects I need to work on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's annoying.
yeah, a little bit, but I like it, and I'm enjoying it.
Okay.
There's no time for dates. I'm working. Don't follow that rabbit trail. Just let that one go, please. Just let that
I'm
one
gonna
go.
let it die.
Thank you. That'll be the conversation we have after the podcast. No, yeah, I'm gonna really swing back about 5 minutes. Trying to find a rhythm again. Because when you're working at church in December, you just don't have one. It's like, you work now. So it's like, kind of the same thing in Easter. I appreciated that it was the only time I've heard a church just talk open and say, Holy Week's going to be a busy week. Just don't schedule anything for like 3 weeks prior.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's awesome. That's all I've wanted churches to say is like, we're going to work you hard, and then after, you're going to take some days off. And I'm like, I love my bosses for saying that. Like, I will work you hard, and then calibrate. I mean, like, don't keep that pace. So, yeah. But I've been excited about getting back in and finding a rhythm, starting to change some things up and adjust things and make them my own a little bit. But, but it's been hard finding that a rhythm a smidge because of things that have happened. There we go. That's our lead-in.
That is our lead-in.
So take it from here, Caleb.
So this episode is going to be a bit more on the serious side, and
we need a fireplace in the background. You just like
the lighting just changes.
Yeah. So I'll tear a Band-Aid off.
Yes.
My dog at the beginning of December passed away, and we didn't want to talk about it on the pod. I'm sorry, I didn't want to talk about it on the podcast, and that is now the third thing I have used my executive privileges on. We're like, we should talk about it, and I'm like, you can shut up right now. Give me a bit.
I didn't pressure you.
Oh, I know.
I was like, I think we should talk about it at some point. That's all I said.
I went for the executive producer card, and went, like, just in case I had it cocked and loaded. Like, I know gotta talk about it soon. No. So, when we figured this is a good time, instead of on our 100th episode, but before it, I'm going to make really uncomfortable jokes this one. So,
I know. This is what you do.
What had happened is 3 years prior, I took her in because she had a massive infection, I found out. And also I had them check out a spot. It turns out it was cancer. Now, the dog at that point was 13. And I asked the doctor, said, like, is it time? And the doctor said, and also because it's a dog, this is going to sound really heartless, but I didn't have a lot of money at the time, so I said, anything beyond $2,000 I cannot do. Which, even that number, he still can't. He's still going to... I was willing to stress myself $2,000 of money I didn't have instead of like $10,000. So, and she hadn't eaten in 4 days, and the doctor said, okay, so here's the deal. The infection is unconnected to this, that is cancer. So the infection will clear up, and she's going to have a lot of energy. Now, this breed of dog tends to be 13 to 15 on average. So I can take her into additional surgery because it's not in the same place as the infection that they actually had to take some parts out. And I can take her into surgery later, do this, spend thousands of dollars, and to be honest, it's probably not going to add or take away a single day from her, just any of it. It's going to be the thing that gets her at some point. Or we can treat the infection, and when it's time, it's time. And I said, I'm against the extreme measures for animals. I mean, I'm not going to put a dog through chemo.
Right.
That's torture. For a 13-year-old dog to go through chemo. I'm not all about it. So I said, like, all right, I'll walk this out. And December was the day it was kind of around Thanksgiving. I said, like, we're there. So, and then some stuff escalated, and I was like, okay, yeah, we're there. So the dog has passed, and so yeah. So I do miss her. She was a goofy dog.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, I think obviously for you, but like even the people around you that have met
Yeah.
Izze, I mean, she's so cute.
She's a goober.
Yeah,
She was a goober,
she's a
man.
goober. She has sass.
Mhm.
She's cute, but
Yeah.
like,
So she, a mom and dad and I talked because when I first got her, I was at home, but mom and dad were in Montana, and I still think there's parts of the story mom and dad haven't heard, but it's okay. They don't listen to the podcast. It's fine. Katie and Clifton, actually, who are planting Red Line Church in California. Please go support them. Drop them loads of cash because they're amazing. This is not a paid ad, and they don't know I'm doing this, but they're doing great stuff. So go support Red Line Church, California. They had found this dog just like wandering around the streets, and they already had 2 dogs and a new child. I think. Was that? I don't remember. Anyway, it was around that time. So I go. Oh yeah, they text and say, "Hey Danny, do you need a dog?" And I'm like, I'll come meet it. I don't know if I can get a dog. My parents aren't even home, and I'm still at home. And if it hates me, I'm not going to commit to trying to bring home a dog that tried to bite me. And I go over to their house, and this dog just comes out, leans on my leg, and stares up at me. And I'm just like, oh, man. Get in the car. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I don't have a leash. I don't have food. I don't have a bed. I don't have a cage. I have nothing. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know where I'm going to get it. I don't know how I'm going to get a leash because, like, I don't know where to put you while I'm getting a leash.
right.
No idea. I'll figure it out. And the dog chose me. And then for a while, she didn't bark or anything. She was a nice dog. Now, I will say the first thing she did coming home is she ran into mom and dad's room, peed, and then tried to run out the back door to the back yard. But
Like one does.
it was a sliding glass door. So she really rammed the sliding glass door.
Damn.
Like, to the point that she would not go through until I waved my hand to show her there's nothing there for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I was like, "Do you want to go outside, Izzy?" She's like, "You first, nerd." I know this trick. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I had I texted mom because I knew I had a better chance with mom than I did dad. Which I'm not proud of. I'm not pitting them against each other because I only asked one. So I said, like, "Don't you think it's time to get a dog?" It's been a bit because our previous dog had died like 4 or 5 years ago. And I said, "It's like, it might be time to get a dog, don't you think?" And mom says, "I don't know. Can we talk about this after we get back from Montana?" And I was like, I mean, I just, Katie and Clifton, they found a dog. And I'm texting, and that's when I got the phone call from mom. And I'm like, "All right, game on. Here we go. I gotta, let's warm up. Let's go. Hey, mom, how's your trip going? I miss you guys so much." You know, and my mom's great because she's like, "What'd you do?" You know, like, "Here, I'll send you a picture." And I sent her a picture of Izzy, and I hear the phone like, "Ba-ding." Pause, tap, tap. Oh. And as soon as mom said it, she's like, oh, I have to talk to your father. And I'm like, "Doesn't matter, I'm in. Got him. Got him." So yeah, then she proceeded to sleep on top of tables, chew up my passport, and a whole bunch of other fun stuff. But yeah.
Fun.
Yeah, she was a goober. She slept on tables.
Yeah.
Yeah. And jumped like a deer. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was good. I think I had her like 10, 11 years. But
Yeah.
It was a good run.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I remember you telling the story. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I came into your life a bit. I don't know how long after that. Probably like a while, if I had to guess.
Not a long while. No, it was pretty close to about the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, you were telling me about like the sprinkler story.
Dude, yeah, I found those on Facebook, by the way.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
You showed me some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She just attacked the sprinklers. She'd never seen sprinklers before.
Yeah.
And she's like, and she did that for 30 minutes. I'm like, that's exhausting. So.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
cute.
And then just over time, you start to get older. She probably the thing I was most grateful for. It was the whole cause of like Project Joy. That was a year I needed her a lot because I was working like, I think I'm bad now. I was working crazy dumb hours for a year and just really lonely. Well, I was depressed. And it was nice to have a dog to just come back to and just pet, who loved me unconditionally and was excited to see me. And every time I came in, her head popped up. I'm like, Danny's home, yeah! And I needed that on days I was just having a breakdown, to just kind of, the dog would come up and I'd pet the dog and it would be all right. It would be better. And I know it sounds strange and cliche, but
right.
I mean, she's not an emotional support dog because Lord knows she doesn't pay attention to commands or anything else. But
yeah.
It was the dog I needed during the time I needed it.
Right.
So yeah. And then towards the end, she was slowing down, and I made a promise to her that I'd walk her till the end, and be there when it happens. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I know they give the option to not be there, and I just thought, it's like, that's not fair to her when they're scared and being poked and prodded and to not be there. And I'm like, nope, I got to do this. So, yeah, took her in, and she died in my lap, which was kind of...
Yeah.
It's weird to say this, because I can't find a good word for it, but it was special or beautiful to be there during that last moment.
Right.
I mean, it was that was my dog, and I had to be there during that final time, and I don't think I would have been as okay as I had been if I hadn't done that.
Right.
But that was that was hard. So yeah. A dumb thing went in there. She still beelined it for the trash can in the room. So I'm in there, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Don't be weird. Like, be weird any other day. Like, not today, please. So yeah, she was snooping around the trash can. I'm like, well,
that is. I've never understood that too. The obsession with trash. I remember dog sitting. I don't know where you were, but I just, like, in the middle of the night, just crash.
Yeah, man.
I'm like, what was that?
Yeah.
Like, get up, and I'm walking around your apartment, and, like, the freaking bathroom trash can is just, like, trash everywhere.
She loves toilet paper. I don't know what... No. Not used toilet paper, because you flush that, but she loves... If I've blown my nose into it, she's like, I gotta know what that is. I'm like, what is wrong with you? You gross, nasty thing. So, yeah.
I mean, kind of diving into the feelings of everything a bit. I know it's hard, but, like, what was like the hardest thing?
This I'm going to say a thing, and it's going to sound as if I'm ungrateful to everyone who's been there. Izzy, for a long time, was my friend. Like, the only friend I had at the time. And I had other friends, sure, but it was... I've talked about 2012 a bit, that I moved out of a home I had grown up in. My parents moved. My friends moved. Like, everyone moved, and then I lost my job. So it was just like, it was this period of, the constant I had was my dog, who helped me get through things, and was very understanding of a dumb schedule when I had to take her out on walks at 3:30 in the morning, and she's like, I mean, yeah, okay, we'll do this, all right. Yeah. And she was just there the whole time, took care of her, she took care of me. But it was hard, just because part of what I had to do, this was early December. So the way the children's ministry content works is you start a new theme every month.
Right.
And this is also December, so there's like everyone's prepping for Christmas stuff. So after Thanksgiving, I'd kind of been thinking I may have to do this. And in the back of my head, I kind of knew it was time because her cancer was progressing bigger and grosser than, yeah. So, and I just didn't have time to like think about that. So on Sunday, I put her down on a Monday. On Sunday, we were starting a new topic on joy, which was finding a way to be happy even when things don't go your way. And I had this weird a moment of I have to stand in front of kids for like 3 hours and lie. Like, I mean, there's no other way to like, hey kids, I'm excited to be here. No, I'm not. It's like, this is a great topic that I'm super excited to talk about today. I would like to be anywhere but here right now. And I had to be up, and I'm not up here all the time. I'm fairly standard. I'm goofy, but I'm not crazy. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know about that.
Shut up. Okay. But I don't operate at a 10. I'm probably at about a 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And I tend to stay there. For children's ministry, I amp it up to like 8, 9, sometimes 10. Because to get their attention, get them excited about it, I have to model that to them.
Yeah.
Okay, so the whole time I have to be at like 8, 9, 10. And then after that, we had to start practice for the Christmas production called Jingle Jam, which is a comedic, high energy, and I had to smile and talk people through that.
Right.
And then I just after that, if I'm usually here and then I have to be up here for a while, at some point I gotta even the math out.
Yeah.
And so as soon as everyone left the rehearsal, I've now been up for like 6, 7 hours. I just full on breakdown.
Yeah.
Just like it was hard because it was just, I know I have to do this and it's time. So, and I had to make a step to schedule that because I couldn't not think about it anymore. I had to say like, hey, do you have openings tomorrow that I can bring my dog by? And they're like, is everything fine? And I'm like, I'm not answering that because I need to be up here. So, yeah. So I had to do that, and I called mom and dad and said it's time. Yeah. And
yeah.
So that was the hard part about it, is just getting to that choice of this is the right thing to do, even though it sucks. But yeah. Part of that, the whole idea of joy was, sometimes if you're preaching and teaching, you end up just teaching more to yourself than the 30 kids that are in there staring at you. And it's like, is he okay? Like, he looks like he's going through a thing. I'm like, fine, kids, just gotta speak to myself for 20 minutes. And just understanding that joy is learning how to be happy even when things don't go your way. I kind of disagree with the definition a little bit, because it goes beyond happy, but it's, there's joy in the middle of garbage,
right?
And needing to teach that, it forced me to think about that, and that was kind of a very helpful topic that I had to make myself teach.
Yeah.
So
through this, would you say you ever like found like how that works, you know, like joy in not about our circumstances, but joy just in everything? Like, would you say that you've found that through this?
I think, I mean, even the whole idea behind Project Joy and all that, it's about finding the hand of God in the everyday. Joy isn't based on a thing that's occurring. It's a thing that is inside of a person. It's a thing that wells up in them, that understands that even if things are terrible, that God is there and God cannot be overcome. And there is a joy even in the midst of sorrow that comes out of that.
I mean, from my perspective, I'll tell you, like, I would say yes. I mean, I know the answer to that. Because when you're going through that, the thing I notice the most is that, like, instead of, talking about the like the heartbreak of it, you were talking about all the memories and how grateful you were for her.
Yeah.
And that really stuck out to me because it's like, I mean, I think that's what it is. I mean, that's what the point of Project Joy is. It's just
it's like even in the middle of the garbage, God is still present. I mean, there was a Project Joy post. Someone they took a picture of the ceiling, and just that they got to see the ceiling again. I am not doing it justice at all. So sorry, my dude, for butchering your post. I apologize. But just that it's this weird place to get to find joy in the mundane and in the garbage. Those are the two things that if a person can find joy in, then things are going to be all right. That it's getting to that conclusion that every breath I take is a blessing from God.
Right.
And I can't take pictures of breaths, but I know that if I am breathing in and breathing out, that I am blessed by God.
Right.
And in some cases, if I have stopped breathing, that I have gone on to be with God. And those fundamental things are the foundation of joy in understanding that even if stuff goes totally off, God is still present.
Yeah.
Part of it is when it happened on Monday, if I hadn't been there, I don't think I would have had as much joy in it, because I got to see the final moments, and at some point the dog, because she was sniffing everything, and at some point she figured it out, like, we're there, and she just came and crawled in my lap, and kind of knew, like, all right, I'm good. So yeah so
I mean,
and I got to just kind of be there and pet her and keep her calm. So
and I mean, once again, like, kind of getting on the line of questions, it's not easy. I mean, even though there is joy and we find it in sometimes ways that other people won't even be able to understand, like, or even see, but what are some kind of coping things that you did to bring yourself comfort, good or bad?
Okay, so we'll start with bad, because that one's easier, because I opted for those immediately. The weirdest part is walking out of the vet's office. Actually, there's two weird parts to it. Is walking out, because you just walk out and it feels wrong. It's like I had a thing coming in, and now I just, like, I even asked, because I just get in my car now, and they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. I'm gonna pet the dog for a minute, and they're like, yeah, no, take as long as you need. I'm like, okay. And there's a door out here if you want to just go out that door. I'm like, but then it's over, and it's like, okay. So one of the things I did is I came home and did laundry immediately, because I'm like, nah, I'm super not ready to talk about this. I did a bunch of chores. It's the cleanest the apartment has ever been. And then I went for a jog, because I needed to exercise and close the rings on my Apple Watch today, or that day, because I hadn't, because I was just petting the dog. I didn't even get my stand hours. I'm like, gotta get those. And that was, normally I'll bump a podcast or a kind of a sermon as I'm doing it, and I just, like, didn't. And I gave myself time to think about it a bit. And I know there's another question that it's coming up, so I'll save the end of that story for that. But I spent a lot of time just trying to keep busy, because I had to do Christmassy things and then get through Jingle Jam, the Christmas thing, And just, I think the Monday after Jingle Jam, because that was a Saturday, I had church on Sunday, and then a Monday, I just played Xbox for the whole day. I think. I was like, all right, we're going to just chill here for a bit, you know.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't stopped until then, because I couldn't. Because if I had stopped, I would have had to deal with it, which I just didn't. That sounds bad. I didn't have time to deal with it, but I didn't. So, like, I had to keep going. And it's important to take that time to just let things be sad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I did stay out more. I went over to people's place. I know I was over, I think, like, every day that week. I was like, hey, I'm coming over. It's because I didn't want to walk in my front door.
Yeah.
So I came over a lot, and that was very helpful, having people I could go to. That's a good method of just being able to be around people that understand. If I want to talk about it, I'll talk about it, and if I don't, you're going to shut the heck up. There's a principle, it has Jewish traditions. I don't remember the name of it, so I apologize for that, but it's essentially ministry of presence, of just being there with a person,
Right.
and do not say anything. Just be in their presence and let a thing be sad. And I think people spend too much time trying to fix a thing when they need to just give it a chance to be sad.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to be sad. You know, telling me not to be sad is going to, like, why? Why should I not be sad? Explain to me how don't be sad is fine, or it's okay. Like, it's not okay.
Yeah.
It's super not okay. This is a sad thing. If I can't be sad at this, what can I be sad at? So having friends that just understand that is important, and then just taking time and spending time in prayer and talking to God about the whole thing was very helpful, to be honest.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. I think I had another question, but I don't remember it. So
it was this one. Was there any part of scripture that stuck out to me?
Oh, yeah.
While I was jogging, I just kind of got to. It actually starts off in the prophet Hosea, and then is echoed in 1 Corinthians 15. Where, O death, are your plagues? Where, O grave, is your destruction?
Mm-hmm.
And as Paul's quoting it in 1 Corinthians 15, he says, when the perishable has been clothed with the imperishable, and the mortal with immortality, then the saying that is written will come true. Death has been swallowed up in victory. Where, O death, is your victory? Where, O death, is your sting? The sting of death is sin, and the power of sin is the law. But thanks be to God, because God gives us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Therefore, dear brothers and sisters, stand firm. Let nothing move you. Always give yourselves fully to the work of God, because you know your labor in the Lord is not in vain.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was thinking about it, it's like we spend so much time trying to dodge death. As a people, as a society, we do everything possible to cheat death, to stay alive as long as all of us can, and death will find us all at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But in Christ, the sting of death, the permanence of death, doesn't stick. I mean, the body I have is going to die, but in Christ, I will in Christ, the power of death doesn't actually hold anything over me.
Right.
And being able to think about death was important. I mean, I'm not going to claim, I'm going to see Izze in heaven or any of that. From a strictly theological perspective, I don't think there's strong enough evidence to say dogs go to heaven. I think there are dogs in eternity. I don't think my dog will necessarily be in eternity.
Yeah.
I don't know. God could just kind of decide to do that. That'd be pretty sweet. I'm all about it. But that's up to the sovereignty of God and not the point anyway.
Yeah.
And that doesn't diminish the blessing that Izze had been during the time that I had her.
Yeah.
But that overall, that scripture, I was just kind of jogging and kind of taunting death while jogging, saying, "Oh, death, where is your sting, huh?
Mm-hmm.
This is supposed to hurt more, and it hurts, but it's not the end."
Yeah.
So, which is always weird to tempt death while you're jogging on Hodges.
Because it's very near.
Yeah, like, uh-oh. I am way too close to the road to be speaking this brazenly. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's good. I mean, and that's just like speaks to the power of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean also to joy in all circumstances.
Yeah.
Once again, is that
Yeah.
we don't have to worry about death. I mean, we do because we're human, and like it's
Mhm.
just our natural,
Right. Right.
flesh to
Right.
watch out for ourselves and to
Mhm.
not do dumb things for
Right.
some people.
Right. Yeah.
But
Be a good
that's-
steward of the time we've been given. you
right,
know?
yeah. That's where it should more, be motivated by, is being a good steward of
Yeah.
what God has given us, and
Right.
that's our time here on earth. And I think that it's just so important to, like, I mean, for me, for years, that's like, as a kid, I was so scared of like
Mhm.
death, and even as a Christian, like what would happen after? Am I truly
Right.
saved?
Right.
But once you're in Christ, it's just so freeing to know
Mhm.
that no matter what, there isn't an end to this. No matter what, we already have the victory
Yeah.
in every circumstance, and in that there's joy. And yeah, it's just such a good verse,
Mm-hmm.
especially for topics like this, obviously, but just as a motivation to live without fear and know that
Mhm.
God is in control of everything.
Right.
And yeah,
Yeah. I mean, that whole point at the end of Corinthians, and I'll be honest, I have mispreached that. Well, not mispreached it. Anytime there's a therefore, you have to ask what it's there for. That a good interpretational. So, the therefore, dear brothers and sisters, stand firm.
Mhm.
I'd always stopped at or started at, dear brothers and sisters, stand firm. Let nothing move you. Always give yourselves fully to the work of God. I'd always started there preaching that. When I needed to back up a paragraph and understand what it is they're talking about first. They're talking about staring in the face of death and saying it's like, death has no sting. Because of that, stand firm in the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Because the worst a person can do is kill you, and that won't stick. Stand firm in the Lord.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing that happens is inconsequential in the hands of a Savior. Christ took our death for us, and I enjoy how the early church, all throughout the New Testament, they didn't talk about death as death. They talked about it as just fell asleep.
Yeah.
As in, it's a not permanent thing, and we know they quote unquote died.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to talk about it as if they fell asleep because I'm going to see them again. And that to me is hope in the middle of a terrible situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've just kind of thought about that it's the therefore is there in the face of death.
And even so, like I feel like it's a common thing in our culture especially in Christianity. Like people use this verse like, "Oh, you shouldn't. There shouldn't be sadness." Like you said, "Oh, you should just be okay." You know, like when something isn't okay.
Right.
And I would love for you to talk about like, why is it okay to be not okay? And I feel like everyone has.
Oh, can we make the funeral disclaimer? Can we make the funeral disclaimer? I feel very strongly about this one.
What?
Don't say dumb garbage at funerals.
Yeah.
Here's what I mean. And I've heard this one, if you're at a funeral for a child and the mom and dad are crying because their child is dead, now is not the time to say, "It's okay, God just wanted to snatch him up into heaven."
Ugh.
Really, dude?
What?
Like, now? I'm so sorry for your loss. And then you move on. Like, there's not much else beyond that.
Yeah.
Tell them that you're sorry. Empathize a bit. Cry with them. Don't try and make this okay. There's nothing that's going to make this okay. It's not okay. Death, although everyone does it, is not natural. We were not intended or designed to die. We did that on our own in Genesis 3. We brought in death.
Yep.
God didn't bring us in to die. It's like, a death came about because we had one thing to do: don't eat from a dumb tree, and we're like, but it might taste good. Like,
Yeah.
because someone was talking to a snake, and some other bigger idiot didn't say anything to that.
Yep.
He never stopped to say, like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be talking to animals like that. Like,
Yeah.
way to go, Adam. You know.
And I've never understood like that motivation. Like I know it's generally it's in good heart. You
Right.
know, like
Right.
I know that those people they care about you and they're just not all great at articulating it.
No, and it is, and I'm probably being too harsh for anyone who said that stuff. I mean, I'm not walking it back, but like,
Yeah.
I'm not taking it back. It's a dumb thing to say. But it's good intentions expressed very selfishly, I think. It's I see my friend hurting. I don't want to see my friend hurting, therefore I must fix it. I'm like, no, you can't though. Like, how are you gonna fix this one?
Yeah.
You can't fix it. You will see them one day in heaven, but you can't fix this one.
Yeah.
And it's okay to not be okay.
Right.
I mean, like, mourn with those that mourn, and actually mourn and be sad together. And don't try and fix it, because there's some things you just can't fix.
Yeah.
And before I need a fix, I need someone to just be there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's
just
really
need another angel in heaven. That's not even how angels works. That's a poor understanding of angelology.
Yeah.
Like it's we don't become angels, and that would actually be a
Right.
downgrade for us. We become higher than the angels. Don't downgrade a child to angel status.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, yeah,
I'm getting all
it's,
jazzed up. Don't say
it
dumb
is-
stuff at funerals, people.
it is okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
And don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like, honestly, it's better not in Christian culture, the mourning of deaths.
Right.
Because, like, people who aren't Christians, they don't have that hope, so it's just like, But, I mean,
This is terrible.
it's a different
God did not
thing.
smash up your child.
But as Christians, it is okay to be not okay.
Yeah.
And it is meant to... We are meant to mourn things that
Right.
are sad. And, yeah.
And
That's-
people mourn different too. I think there's healthy ways of doing it and non-healthy, but people do that different. I know people that they don't cry, and that's not how they mourn. That's not how they're sad. They just don't do it. That is not me. I am a crier. I will cry. I cry at the chroma glasses things every time. Or the military people coming home and surprise.
glasses.
Yeah, for the colorblind people that put them on.
I thought those were fake.
No, just the Logan Paul one. No, they're real, and it's like, I cry at those every time, and I'm like, you can see color now. Or when mom and dads come home from the military and surprise their children, and I just every time, just it's weird. Sometimes like I need a good cry. Chroma glasses, military man.
Yeah.
but some people don't do that, and that's fine. But if a person's at that place of thinking like, I need to cry, but I can't because I'm a man or anything like that, just let out manly tears. Like, cook a steak and then cry over it. You know, like, do what you got to do. Like, it's okay to do this and to mourn and be sad, but like, don't bottle it up. Bottling it up is the worst thing you can do.
I found, like, for me personally, this is like a recent discovery. My sister always gets on to me because, like, I mean, I cry. Don't get me wrong. Like, in the moment, I cry a lot of times, but it's typically for, like, dumb stuff. But, like...
Me pulling your leg hair, yeah.
But,
Stop!
But, like, there's, like, I feel like my emotions just don't kick in, like, immediately. Maybe it's because I bottle stuff up, like, unconsciously, but, like... I find like months later, it'll just like hit me when I have time to just like think, and then I'll just like sob it out, and it's weird, but sorry, that's just a recent discovery I made about myself.
No, I think that's good though to understand that you need time to process things and kind of think through it. So yeah,
I wish that. And I know someone else like this too, and we were talking about it the other day, and we were like, just wish that we had the emotions to just like deal with it immediately, and just to like know what you're feeling immediately, and it not have to take a long time. But I don't know. I feel like that's just it's a man thing. I mean, not really. No, that sounds terrible. Oh my gosh, did I just say?
I think you know, I said this about the dog, and I know the dog is not the same as children and family, so please don't at me. But it hurt because the dog meant a ton to me.
Yeah.
And that that day that I actually had to slow down and think about it, it didn't all just like fix then. I mean, I came in the other day and I was just like, oh, a dog's going to poke her head up. And I was like, no, it's not. And I opened the door and I was like, yep, still here. So, and then I had to throw our blankets away a week or two after because they were gross. There's no other way. They were disgusting. So I washed them the day it happened and they still smelled like dog, but not the kind of brings back fond memories, but they smelled like dog. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The hair of a decade of dog had been infinitely woven into this blanket, and I was like,
gosh,
this is not how I want to remember her. Just like, oh, here's her blanket. Oh my god. Yeah. So, but that was hard. I was like walking her blankets 2 weeks after it happened to the dumpster, and I'm like, okay, this is fine. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, everyone copes different, and just, I don't know. As far as that goes, I guess the two things for Christians, I think, are it's okay to be sad, to take time and process things. And then this is also a part of Christianity that costs people stuff because you have to give up time and your own dumb brain that wants to fix things to just mourn with someone. And Christianity costs a lot. And it's worth it, but it costs a lot. And this is one of those costs, to be able to sit with a person and say, things aren't okay, also I'm here. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sure.
So. Yeah, no, I've heard so many weird funeral things. Just like.
It's bad.
I get bad. Like everyone's sad. Okay, so here's my. This is very dark humor at this point. Here's my wishes for my funeral.
Gosh.
First of all, I want to make it clear. During my funeral, I expect to be dead. So like, whatever I ask for beforehand, you just tell me whatever I want to hear. I don't care. I imagine if it's old age, I'm gonna ask for some really senile stuff. You don't have to honor those wishes. You're fine. Like, be sure you invite the president. yeah, I called him. He said he'd be there. You know, whatever. I'll be dead. Funerals aren't for me. They're for you guys. Don't have open mic night. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't do that. Here's
Oh.
in high school there was a guy who got in a car accident and died. And this is it was a very formative moment for me in future funerals I'll have to do at some point. I will never have an open mic to tell stories because they invited the whole school. Oh. Okay, so there's a bunch of 16-year-olds.
It was Brenda, wasn't it?
16-year-olds who have been told they can come up and share stories about this person. And it's just like, if you're 16 and pay attention to this podcast, thank you for paying attention to this podcast, but you have an ego and you don't know it. No, I'm different. That's what I mean. Is that your first instinct was indeed to push back and say, no, that's everyone else. It's not me. It's you, Scooter. It's fine. It's going to be okay. I got through it.
I'm not
working through it now. Yeah,
I'm not there.
No, like, we'll all get there. It'll be cool, and I love you, support you as family, but you got an ego. So there's like 200 16-year-olds who are at a funeral with his family in the front row who are now trying to make this as much about them as they can.
I don't want to hear it.
And so, like, at some point, I was sitting next to a friend of mine who both of us just got to a point of staring at each other going like, what is happening? And it finally got to a point that a person gets up and says, I'd like to share a poem I wrote just now. And I'm like, no, no. And like, it ended with, and I don't understand why God had to take him away or something. And it's just like, his family's right there. You had one class with him 2 years ago. You don't know him. Like, you don't.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, so I could hear the pastor like whooshing in, like, well, thank you everyone for coming. We're going to not end on that dumb note. Like, it was so bad.
Yeah.
And it was at that point I thought, I will never have an open mic funeral ever again.
Since when is that a good idea?
I don't know. I've heard of others, like, I know some people that have gone to funerals and like no one had anything nice to say, which is another good reason to not have
a funeral.
Open mic funerals. Yeah. If you could a Viking burial me, that'd be hardcore.
Dude, send me off like
but don't tell anyone. I mean, just bring a bow and arrow and just light it. He wants this. Just see what happens. One last prank. You know? Got him. So, no, yeah. Don't do open mic funerals. Don't.
I feel like the best way to do it is at a funeral I was at for someone I didn't know him too well, but the parents, there's like pen and paper out. Yeah. So you could write down your like a story that you you know had with him, like a moment you shared with him, whether it was big or small. Right. And just, you know, give it to them so they could read it. And
throw it away if they deem it like, what is this garbage?
So they don't have to.
One day we were smoking together. Like, nope. Scream that story. Out we go. There we were.
Yeah.
In the middle of...
But I feel like that's a good way to do it. It still allows people to express, like, you know, this is a good memory I had with him. And
I mean, those are like campfire stories that, I mean, they need to be told.
Right.
The context of the funeral is not the time to tell them. They're good stories that, you know, friends get together and actually talk about the fun stuff. I mean, I did that to the dog because it's like, that is how I want to remember the dog, of these times where she shredded all the couches on the back porch and then pulled out a chair and slept on the table, and it was like, oh, and ate my passport, which sounds like I'm making it up, and I'm not. She definitely ate my passport.
Oh, Danny.
And I came home and she's just like so cute asleep on the table. It's a tall table. Yeah. And there's like shreds of couch, and I'm just like, oh, can't clean this up fast enough. Parents are walking in right now.
Yeah.
And she
Wow.
looked really cute. And I'm like, I need to tell that story because it was funny.
Yeah.
But
It's important.
I wouldn't have, I mean, if I had a funeral for the dog, first of all, not going to happen. That wouldn't have been the time I told that. Like, there she was, misbehaving, poop everywhere. Like, that's not the time.
I mean, it goes back to, like, once again, Project Joy and the verse we read about making these monuments to memories and
to look forward.
To look forward. And that's a good thing because that is a memory that at the time brought you joy.
Well,
I mean, ish.
It brought me laughter, followed by punishment, followed by anxiety, and then back to laughter.
Yeah.
Like, what am I gonna do?
I
can't uneat the couch.
But it's a memory. It's important to have these memories.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah. So, well, this has been a slightly different episode.
Yes, it has.
There's been a lot of participation with Project Joy 365, so we do get the notifications. Keep those coming. I do go through most of them as many as I can, and I'm really enjoying them and just watching people find the joy in their day-to-day and how God is still moving. So keep that up, and be sure to go to thegospelpost.com/projectjoy365 to see updates on how everyone's doing, meet new friends, and all that. So and also, if there's an interest in asking us questions as we get closer to our episode 100, I'm gonna start calling it the extravaganza because then we have to plan something. But it's gonna be great.
Yeah,
but
we
if
don't have anything planned.
If there's questions, we're planning soon.
Yes.
If there's questions or just writing in to say hi, go to thegospelpost.com/nobodyspecial, fill out the form at the bottom, and come talk to us, and we will more than likely answer your question.
Right.
To the guy who sent me 20 paragraphs on 3 different contact forms, I may not be able to get to your question because I can't read it. Did I show you that one?
No.
I'll show you it afterwards. It was really interesting.
Yeah.
It's just a lot to go through, so that may take me a bit. I'm not ignoring it, is what I'm trying to say, and it came out very insensitive. So,
yeah. Danny.
Caleb, are we on social media?
Yeah. You can go follow us at Nobody Special Podcasts on Instagram and Facebook.
What about Twitter?
Right there. No.
Tumblr.
What is Tumblr? We had this conversation the other day.
You don't know what Tumblr is.
But yeah, go follow us on social media. And
Tumblr is if the internet took a big poop. Well, I may cut that.
Yeah. I just want to let that sit for a
seriously,
bit.
yeah, that's the same thing with Tumblr.
But go follow us on social media if you want to see what we're up to, or we post, when an episode's out on YouTube or on podcasts. I was like, what is it called?
Providers. Podviders?
Yeah. And go give us five stars on iTunes, and like the videos and watch them on YouTube, and subscribe if you want to sign yourself up for that.
Yeah, dude,
Whatever
hit subscribe on the YouTube channel, because 2020, one of my personal goals is Gospel Outpost is going to start putting more things on the YouTube channel. So go subscribe to that, and it's going to be pretty sweet. So
yes.
Well, Caleb, I think that is going to do it for us today. So I'm Danny.
And I'm Caleb.
And we are
Nobody Special.